Queer means resistance. Queer means resilience. Queer means fighting. To be unapologetic.
Straight, not trying to fit into like a heterosexual, heteronormative idea of like how you should be, I suppose. Queer is like other.
That we as black women, as a gender, as a group of women, are super queer. Are super freaking queer. If I think about my mother, who is super hetero, she's straight, she's super straight, or low hetero, she's super straight, but she is, I think, the most queerest person you will ever meet. How she organized herself, how she organized our household. I think you need a lot of strength and a lot of patience. And you need to know how to navigate through a lot of situations. Navigate through life, navigate through the system, through school, through dancing, through being queer, being a woman, being black, being Afro-Caribbean, being born in Holland. Like, there are so many things, you know, that comes to be when it comes to be Naomi Peter.
Well, yeah, obviously I'm black. Also, biracial is like I have a white mom, which makes it different, I guess. Like my experience different. Yeah, I'm also queer or bisexual or whatever, or gay. And yeah, a woman, or yeah, I don't know, figuring out what like black womanhood is like different. But yeah, I'm from London. I feel like that's like a big part of my identity as well. And that's pretty much
who I am, you know, like, and I think there's no words to encompass anybody really, because we're so multifaceted that I just feel I'm just something great, you know, I would say that. Because I think we sometimes get reduced to being queer, to being a woman, to being black. And when we are so much more than that.
Depends on where exactly in the Netherlands. I guess in Amsterdam it would be less heard of than in places where it's like small.
You would surprise yourself.
Really?
You would really surprise yourself.
Tell me.
I remember the first day I moved here now a year ago, and I'm from The Hague. I consider The Hague one of the most racist cities in the Netherlands.
Really?
Because of the police brutality, because of the segregation in the city, because of in certain areas black or people of color are not safe to go into. And there's really certain areas that it's like, don't go there because it's really not safe, not able to live as a black body. BIPOC body, black POC I have to say. And well, I thought Amsterdam progressive, you know, this awesome city. And my first day of school, I went to the HEMA, and there were two guys sitting, one white guy and I think one Middle Eastern or some. It seemed like Algerian, I don't know, maybe Middle Eastern anyway. So I'm walking in the morning. Imagine I didn't have my breakfast, I didn't have my tea yet, so I was, you know, I was ready, you know? Walking in, and the first thing that I hear was, I will never fuck an N-word. I will never fuck a nigger. Never. A woman, so it was the female version, but I would never fuck one. So I'm walking, and I'm thinking, did I hear this right? Did this guy really said this? Because behind the counter was this black woman, you know, working. Yeah. I know the black woman. So I was really walking. I couldn't believe it because I thought, this is morning. No. And as I was kept watching him, he said, what? It's true. And that's the moment I went from 0 to 100 real quick. Seriously, that was the moment that I started. I said, yeah, you racist asshole. And I started to swear and call him a lot of names. And then his friend came, like, oh no, everybody knows he's a racist, this and that. I said, I don't give a fuck. Then you should, use your words or say your stuff in a different area, not be where people walk around and can address you also to it.
Yeah.
And then he was trying to do something, and then anyway, he was trying to act up, and I bought tea. And if I wasn't the Naomi, so I bought tea, and as I'm walking out, he kept looking at me, and I said, what do you want? Come here outside and throw this on your head. And he kept watching me, and then he turned his head. But you would be surprised what kind of violence you would encounter in Amsterdam.
And also, as you said, in The Hague, I also experienced when the person I was dating at that time, I was kind of like really in a depressive mood, and I was like, I'm going to kill myself. But I didn't really mean it like that. And then, but he believed it, and he called the police. And the police dealt with me in the most rough, terrible way, and I am the victim here, like they pushed me, they grabbed me, and
What the fuck?
yeah, I told them I don't have anything in my hands or anything, so why are you pushing me? And like, you should be trying to calm the situation if I'm a depressed person trying to kill myself. So police, I really also have a bad relationship with them.
Yeah, I also thought moving to Amsterdam it would be like, this progressive space, like lots of people of color or whatever, but no, it's really not. And I also, when I went to my university as well, it's like completely white at first still, like all of my classes, I'm like the only black person, which I like didn't expect at all.
Yeah.
Like you don't expect.
Because Kroning, I felt like really separated from the class because I am black. And I was like, maybe I should come to Amsterdam, but it's no different.
Just as bad, I think.
Yeah.
I also have like some Dutch family here, like white Dutch family, because I have a Dutch mom. And like when I would go to them and be like, oh, I don't like studying here, everyone's white, like I don't relate to anyone in my classes, like it's annoying. My aunt was like, just go study in Africa then. And I'm like even my family, like, oh, go study in Africa, like, and I was like,
your
mom
mom too?
I'm not even African, like my family are from the Caribbean. And like second of all, like who are you? Like why are you talking to me like that? Like it's really wild, like why people get so defensive if you even try and talk about it, like feeling excluded and feeling like out of place, like they get really uncomfortable about it as well. And like just because I'm criticizing the university doesn't mean I'm like attacking you personally, or that I'm like that I hate you or that I hate all white people, like but the more you act up like that, the more I do, like it's, I don't know. Moving here has been like a whole experience.
They like to say Netherlands is so progressive. They had gay marriage, they had this and that, but I think what is to be progressive?
For me, it's more the difference of acknowledging that gay marriage, but for who? Gay marriage for Dutch gay men, yes. For Dutch gay white men, the marriage is there.
Yeah. And
yes, the LGBT things are progressive in Netherlands for white LGBT people. It is, the transgender side is not so progressive in the Netherlands. But hey, if you're white, you're gay, whatever, it's super easy. You have all your organizations here. You have all your saunas. You have all your facilities that you can go. You can live a happily gay life here. But when it comes to being black or being POC and being LGBT, it doesn't. The same progressiveness doesn't apply to you. Because just existing as a BIPOC body is already like you don't have anything to say in the Netherlands, regardless if you're part of the. How do you say this?
Your society.
No, I want to say this very fucked up colonial word, Dutch kingdom, because the Dutch don't have really a kingdom, because where the islands are still colonized.
Yeah.
The island that I come from, Curacao, you have Aruba, you have Saint Martin, or Saint Eustatius, and like we're part of being Dutch. We're part of the Netherlands, of the Dutch kingdom. But then still the color, the fact that we have a different color,
Yeah.
still our Dutchness or our citizenship gets questioned.
Yeah.
So I don't care about certain LGBT rights if me as a black
Firstly,
body,
yeah.
I cannot be accepted, or I'm not even safe walking down the streets, or my Netherlands ship or my Dutch ship is not even acknowledged because I have a different color. Then what can I do with all these progressive laws? What can I do with all these progressive facilities if I cannot make use of them?
Yeah.
You know, and that's a little bit the thing in the Netherlands. It is progressive, but for who? It's not for me. The system is not built for us.
And I think that's the thing. Like they like to think, oh, racism doesn't exist here; it exists there, in like America and the Caribbean and stuff. But I think this is where it came from. This is the
originator. of
this,
that.
this is the center of it. You know, like.
You know, it's also about speaking up. Like, who can you imagine that you, because the Dutch have a certain identity, right? They perceive themselves as progressive, but also as innocent and small, and like we're this small country. We're not that big. We don't have so
Like
much
not
people.
aggressors.
We don't. It's not this. You know, we're very victims of everything, and then we do everything right because in that country there is it works. In the Netherlands, no, it's not here. So it's very much this innocent identity.
Yeah.
But then I feel the moment that you start pushing buttons, the moment that you start pushing in those progressive illusions of bubbles, that's the moment that you start to see the real reality. It's the same with Black Pete. You talk about Black Pete, you get this whole other thing to it. Well, if it's just about Black Pete, why can we not change it? If it's just about this black facing figure, why we don't change it? No, because it goes way deeper than that. It goes way deeper into a certain Dutch identity and a Dutch, self, and that we're trying to rob from them and imagine.
Like with dating also, men would say, for me, that they want somebody exotic or something like that, and my body feels objectified in that way. And also, like, if you don't like them, or if you say something that they don't like, maybe they will call you a monkey or say that all of us are apes. I experienced violence, but on like a transgender dating site, and it blew my mind because of the things the person said about me.
Have you ever dealt, because you shared already that how people express their feelings, or how people turn violent to you when you said no to them, particularly white men. Have you experienced this, that you said no to white bodies and that they...
I mean, I generally try not to date white people to like avoid this kind of thing. I think I've never been like personally in the situation where like I've said no like directly and then someone has been like gotten aggressive. I think I've always been aware that I could be like in a position where like that kind of thing can happen. So when I like, I don't know, it's kind of shitty, but when I try to like turn someone down or like say no or like get out of a situation, I'm always like, no, I'm not sure, like, I don't know, maybe bye, so cute, like, I kind of do it in that way, so I'm kind of like, no, but, don't kill me, like, I'm still cute, like, I'm not, I don't know, I feel like you just learn ways to kind of deal, especially with men, I think, in particular, like, men of, like, any color, but, like, also white men, it's like, I don't know, you just know, like, sometimes, I don't know, even like when a man grabs me or something, or is like physically at me, I'll never be like, oh my god, scared. I'll be like, ah, you've like got my arm there. That's so that's wild. Like this is a really bizarre situation to be in. But like I'll always do it from like an appeasing standpoint, and I don't know, like I never thought about it consciously. It's just like always how I've reacted, just because. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, oh wait.
I think I do the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Also, like because.
Like, oh, you're wow.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
No, thank you.
But that's kind of quite one, because I think, especially when you're a minority or as well, like you have to kind of build these mechanisms to kind of protect yourself.
Yeah.
And I think I do the same kind of thing sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I had sorry.
No, go on.
I had instances where somebody did not stop when I said stop.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like I was raped also, so it's something I know about, and that's why I think I also do the same thing to try to get out of it, or you know, like I also think it's because of feeling a bit ashamed of it, to kind of get away from it. But I think it's better to also sometimes stand up to it.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah, I was curious because you both speak about men, and being myself, I assume everybody's queer.
Yeah.
But like the objectification that I get from women, you know, from white women particularly, can be from other women, but particularly from white women, like for me that's super weird. I have like, especially when you have this kind of blackness or something that they get, I don't know, they're very like into, I don't know,
Yeah.
I think there's a certain, there's a certain fetish, and I don't know, sometimes when I'm in a club or dancing and I see some women just staring, some white women are staring, like crazy staring, and I get so uncomfortable. I'm like, why is she staring at me like that? What does she want from me? And all these thoughts go in my mind, like, is she objectifying me right now? What, like, why? Stop looking at me. And also women touching, women grabbing. I don't know, I think I wanted to also put the awareness on that women can also be very violent, you know, and very aggressive. And sometimes regardless of the color, regardless, you're very aggressive women, you know. And then I've also, moments, I can never resonate what you have experienced, but moments that it felt like women are touching me in a way that I don't feel comfortable. And regardless that we're women, like, yo, I don't want you to touch me right now. Or indeed in the club they grab you or they start dancing with you in a certain way, then I'm like, whoa, this is wild. You know, this is a little bit too aggressive. So sometimes the objectification not only from people coming to us, but sometimes from us within, you know. And even if I think about, and I know this is something way off topic, but by domestic violence by women, you know, in lesbian relationships, that, you know, we don't talk about those things also so much, about violence within lesbian relationships. And
because you see, the thing is also the world has this idea that women are supposed to be this soft, gentle, delicate thing, so there's no violence going on there.
You should know how much violence is going on.
But you know, I mean, like, of course I don't have your experience, but I've seen some things like that happen in the club before. So I think, it's quite a valid,
but
to talk about.
That we raise awareness that sometimes the objectification not only comes from outside, you know, that we also should be aware about our own politics, our own thoughts, our own aggressiveness, or the way we do certain stuff. And and that we maybe produce violence in places that we ourselves are not known of, you know. But I don't know. That was my thought about objectification from women also.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely true, and I guess, and I've also had those experiences with women, mostly with white women sometimes as well, and mostly actually white women. But I guess sometimes when I think about objectification, I also don't think about it in this way as well, or like sometimes because it's a woman, it's like okay, whatever. Like I kind of will push it more aside than when it's a man, like it's sometimes it's sometimes more obviously aggressive, and when it's a woman, like what she's doing is still it's still objectification, it's still like makes me uncomfortable, it's still something I don't want, but then it's like sometimes more insidious because you won't class it as like violence in the same way, or you won't.
I think it's the mentality.
Yeah.
You know, like the way you think about certain things that makes you probably think of it in that way. So.
Because I could totally, because in some moments, if this was a guy, hell no, we'd be fighting right now. I would stab you or something. You know, I would stab you. But because it is a woman, it's like ha ha ha, or
it's like
it's more like you laugh it away. But if it were a guy, you would never accept this. And this is a little bit the thought of, you know, raising the awareness on, because you are a woman doesn't mean it's okay for you to touch me, or that we can move, or you can be entitled to my body, or hell no, you know. And this is I think this is also why I not date a lot of lesbian women who really identify like this, because a lot of clubs, parties, I would feel very uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable. I'm like, this goes way too fast for me, or now you're touching me while you don't need, why are you doing this? And because it's so blurry indeed, because we're women, and you know, but I stopped because I don't like this kind of way of grabbing that I feel that a lot of lesbian women do. But I stopped generalizing them, lesbian women, because hey, I identify as a queer lesbian woman, and all my relationships are based on this. So I'm talking also about myself in that sense. But because there's also something nice in dating a lesbian woman because she has the experience. But indeed, because I had all of this grabbing experience, I was like, no lesbian woman for anymore for me, because this is way too much, and this objectification, and no. I prefer dating women who are straight, perceive themselves as straight, because I don't believe in straight women. I don't believe in straight heterosexuality.
To begin with.
So I don't know. When somebody starts with, I'm straight, I'm like, you're spaghetti. You're like straight until wet, until you heat it up. You know? So you can be your spaghetti. It's all good. I don't care. I can roll with you. So a lot of them. A lot of women are like, no, I'm not attracted to women. It's like, okay. And then after, I never had such an experience. I never had this thing. You were straight. I will never date a woman. I will never go down. I will never do this thing. Well, the bitch went down. Yeah, it's so funny. But it's really funny. It is. Because they're, So anyway.
it feels like self-love as well. Like when
It's crazy self-love. It's self-love on a level that goes beyond the self, It's something that I don't even know how to explain, because it's just sometimes just hanging out with another black woman, or especially when you're into each other, then it's already like, but you understand each other on such a level that it's crazy. Like just mentioning a certain, I had this with a girl, she just mentioned a certain herb, like she made a joke about a certain herb, like it's not like this herb, and I was like, only black women would understand this. Like she could never make this with another body. Only we understand this. Like using 5 spices, like we use 5 spices. We know, like 5 spices. Oh yeah. But there's certain jokes, there's certain things that we get on a certain level that. And I'm not saying that all black women are the same. I'm not generalizing them, because we have the different kinds, and also you have different kind of connection being from the Caribbean or being from the continent. You know, there's also a difference. But there's something, and it really is. I would say it has to do with being black. Sorry.
Yeah. But it's also, it's like all kinds of intimate relationships, because even friendships, even like having white friends is not the same.
True,
and it will
yeah.
never be the same. We'll never be friends the way I can be friends with black women. Like never, ever, ever. A lot of white people like don't get that. They're like, oh yeah, we're friends.
No.
We're like friends, but like at arm's length. And also like
It's
I don't know,
different.
it is different. For me, I have like too much white. I've got a lot of white family, and it's like I already have to put in so much like emotional labor, even talking to them or like proving my humanity to them, or like just because I don't know. I want them to understand me. I want my mom to understand me. Like I want her to like recognize me and recognize like my different experiences as a black woman. So when there are like other white people, it's like I don't have the energy to put into you to like make you see me the way I feel and the way I want to be seen. I don't have the energy because I already got too many white people that I'm like looking after, kind of. So yeah, I like relate to like a lot of what you say. It's like when you appreciate like the beauty that is you as a black woman, when you appreciate like how you look, and you can also see, and like when you appreciate how other black women look and like the things that make them beautiful, it's like you can recognize that in yourself, and it's just like you can just vibe off that, like I don't know, that relationship a lot.
I organize a lot, but I think everything that I almost organize is about, in a way, healing. But I organize Pond the Pride. That is a dancehall party here in Amsterdam. As for me, it is for me. I think for everybody, or I aspire to be a safe space for BIPOC, LGBT people to come together and dance and celebrate their bodies and their existence in a safe space. I also enjoy dancehall and Caribbean music in a safe space, which it's pretty hard if you want to enjoy dancehall Caribbean music in a safe space in the Netherlands. I can always talk about the Netherlands, of course, but it's hard. And these are the music styles that we enjoy the most, or I enjoy the most. And I know a lot of people with me. So instead of going to straight parties and having a lot of violence around you, or not feeling safe, or not being able to express yourself, I thought, there's a lack of parties here, let's organize Pond the Pride. But for me, it's not just a party. For me, it's really about pleasure activism. For me, it's really about healing, about having a safe space. And yes, we do this through a party, because a party is a form of resistance, it's a form of healing, and it is healing. Oh my God, my eyes were like healing from all the violence, because I saw all these people bodies just dancing and enjoying themselves. I saw men like whining and grinding. I saw everybody was just getting it on. People, I had a dancing contest. Somebody was hanging from the ceiling. It was off the chain. I'm sorry. I will say, not because I organized it, but it was off the chain. Because the people who came there, because if they wouldn't came there, it would be an awful party. So it was, and that's why we should not take healing we should not take healing light. We should be very busy with how do we heal in our communities. Why? Because of the violence that we experience. But also, like I grew up with being a woman, or being black and a woman. And what does that mean? That means, well, if I listen to my sister and my mother and all the other women that I had around me, is to work double so hard, is to have no time to be, to cry. There's no time to be like, being black and a woman, there's no time to be soft. You don't have time to do this. Therapy? What? Are you crazy? That's for white people. All of these notions, like about healing, we don't have time. And as I said, I did not grow up with having time to heal or think about healing or allowed to heal, because I guess my mother was never allowed to heal, because her mother, my grandmother, was never allowed to heal, and I can go on who were never allowed to heal. So they never learned or constructed a way of talking, of healing, of even saying I love you, you know, even that. And like, I don't blame them, because I recognize the history that we come from, you know, the history of slavery, the history of being enslaved, and how do you, and being 300 years, 400, 500 years enslaved to becoming free. How do you deal with certain stuff? How do you?
And not so long ago too.
Yeah, 145 years ago. How do you? And so the time of being enslaved and being free is not even equal. So how do you learn to talk? How do you learn to heal? How, if you're still like trying to heal yourself from 300 years slavery? It's crazy, and we have to do it in double so fast, because or else we're savage, we're that, blah blah. So we have to do it double so fast. So how do you find the place to heal? And then connect it to your relation to activism. Because I do activism, or not even because I'm activism just existing in a city or in a country that perceive itself as predominantly white, because it is not. It perceives itself as white. How do you navigate through this? And then your cultural experience, the experience of being born in this society, and then all of the other. How do you find a place to heal?
Yeah, that's a thing that's been really on my mind also, you know, just coming from the Caribbean.
It's not on our minds, and it's fucked up, because you have those white people, they know how to heal. They know how to relax. They know how to go and drink their wine and be off fancy and shit. Yeah. They know how to do this. Have their Sunday off, wear their nice clothes, and go around and I don't know, do what? While we were like, no, let's go. We cannot do this. I have to do my grocery. I have to go, blah, blah, blah. I have to do all of this shit. Well, they're like, no, we do it tomorrow. Or they have their own ways, like, no, I'm relaxing. I cannot pick up the phone. I cannot do this right now. I'm in my whatever zone. I'm having time.
But you know, I was kind of angry
when
I came here, actually, because white people get the privilege of just being cool and calm and having all the confidence to do things that we can't possibly, well, we could possibly do. But I mean that we don't have the chance to do, because we haven't healed and been able to get to that point, you know, like certain things that they can do is because of their privilege, and we have to work harder, like you said, to achieve those things.
But also the idea of being allowed to access certain spaces, like I also thought I was allowed to be, I don't know, let's give an example. Restaurants, like going to dinner to certain restaurant. I not thought that I was excluded from the space, but just the thought
you can't go there.
No, because my people are not there. Like I don't see black bodies there. Why should I go there? Or I assume
museums
that
as well.
yeah, like I assume okay, those places are not for me then. Or I don't know, like my friends are not going, or my family. So what does this place have to do with me? This place have everything to do with you, you know. And just this weird ideas of not, you know, going into spaces, or you're not allowed, but also not creating the idea of, yo, you are allowed to have a healing time. You are allowed to take a massage. No, this is not only for white people or other people. This is also for you. You can stop at a moment in time and just fucking relax. You can stop and cry and rant about fucking racism, all the violence that you're going through. No, you don't have to keep our mouth or just be like, we got this. We don't. Although we are so I'll talk about this, the double consciousness. We're so conditioned to have this double consciousness. We're so conditioned to deal with trauma, to deal with violence, that we just go on like whatever. And imagine that we as women, because think about the sexism that we also experience. So regardless from the racism that black men or that we as black body experience, think about the sexism that we experience. And then I can imagine trans sexism, you know, go on with the thing, you know. So for me, just as women, even as black women, that it's to stop and to say, sis, yo, you can, it's okay. Today I got you, or today we're just gonna sit and just look at the birds, like that. We're gonna sit and look at the birds, because you know what? Although we have this big fight or big thing that we have to do, but we can take a moment in time and be like, let's watch the birds. Well, the whole world is crashing down. Let's watch the fucking birds.
Yeah, and I think nobody has the right to say when we should heal or something like that, because I sometimes hear people saying, oh, black people, it's been so long, or you know, like, also somebody was my friend on Facebook and they said that Haiti, look how long they've been free and they have independence and they can't get as good as Dominican Republic, but there's also a lot of like colorism there going on, and I think nobody has the right to tell us how and when we should heal, and we should realize that.
Yeah, I feel healing for me, is also like this time to like take a breather, take a break. But I feel also it's like kind of comes in stages as well. Like I think for me healing is also like I need to release a lot of anger that maybe I've been holding down as well. Like there's a lot of other things within myself that I have to like look into and recognize. I think it has a lot to do with like being right with my feelings, like being right with like my anger as well, and like expressing that in ways that just work for me. Sometimes like I feel even like I need to talk to people, I need to tell them that they hurt me, like acknowledging like where things have gone wrong, like acknowledging like certain pains like is a big part of it. And yeah, I don't know, it's like healing is like, it can be nice, it can be chill, but it's also like
sometimes uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's like uncomfortable and painful, and it's like looking into things that you don't want to look at, and like recognizing things you don't want to see, and yeah, finding outlets for that, I think.
I think that's really how you do it. But for me, sometimes I think personally, you have to like just also take time to, it's also following what you said, like take time to relax in your own body, and also focus on your sort of like spirituality too. I think it doesn't necessarily say that you have a religion or something like that, but you know, like I do think that you have a spirit and it's connected to the body, and sometimes you just have to slow down and kind of bring them together. Yeah.
Rage and anger, but it's a rage. I need to rage in order to heal. It's a rage, also a rage in order for me. It's a rage or an anger that gives me energy to organize, to demonstrate, to say, yo, I don't take this shit anymore, you know. This is the kind of anger that I have within me, and I think it's very inherent or very connected to black bodies, that of not taking any more shit, also connected to being a woman. But that we see rage and anger also as a place of information, aka hashtag #Arnodor. I wanted to connect it to, I rage in order to heal. I need to rage. I need to rage to release all the anger and pain of the women in my ancestral line, but also of me now and my family and everything. I need to rage to heal. If I don't release this anger, if I don't express this,
you.
Yes, and only, but it would stay within me. You know, and I need to release, and release is me by being the fucking piss off, you know, exactly. By just being real to this anger that I have experienced, or I have built up, or whatever, you know. It's being real to that, and a lot of times we do get policed of not, be not being able to be angry or to rage or whatever, because then you get turned into this black anger, stereotype of a black woman.
But if their ancestors were treated so for hundreds of years, wouldn't you be fucking angry?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I feel like my anger is the kind of the organizing a demonstration one. My anger is a one that is part of not just me, but of a whole fucking ancestral line that experienced certain violence. So how can you not expect me to rage or to be angry or whatever? But it doesn't have to be a destructive energy. It doesn't have to destruct us in our path of healing. And I guess this is my idea, like, we can rage and we need to rage in order to heal, but not in order to destruct ourselves. Because destruction, they tried and we're still here. They tried and we're still here. So I think to not take the energy of raging, of energy, to not take it light, but also to understand it is in relation to heal, and not just as on its own long, girl, you're you're angry or you're raging. Oh, okay, well, chill down. No, it's part of something, and
it needs to be recognized.
It needs.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Let's rage. Let's rage.
Yes, let's rage.
Laugh too much so it's not in the film, but the spaghetti thing was hilarious.
Yeah, I know, right?
A lot of them are spaghettis, they're like, I'm straight, and then it gets a little bit heated, they get like, because y'all recognize it, that's why, because y'all recognize it. That's why. Like, no, I'm not into this. Like a few kisses here and there, and it's like, yeah, because y'all know, that's why. Been there, done that too.
Oh no.